They say you learn a lot about a team when you're on a 10-day, 5-game road trip, especially out west. Other than Joel's ski tendencies, what do you learn about this team while you were out west?
I mean, what we've known, their ability to continue to grow, to take different situations and learn from them. You go out against Golden State, get a good one, so you feel good, and then the next night you struggle against Sacramento, and then you bounce back against Portland, and then you have played 2 tough games against Utah and then Denver. So just their ability to stay resilient, to learn from the things from the previous game and build on it.
When you're gone for that long, obviously your stint at home isn't long either. But to have a few days off, to be back in your own bed and back in the routine, just how good is it for the guys, and how good did it feel for you?
Oh, it's great to be back around in our a little bit of a routine. Just being able to be with our family after being on the road for 11, 12 days. I think that's so important that we get to get back around our family and then get around the home crowd again.
You see Trumo getting his work in over there. What's he able to do since having that knee surgery a little over a month ago?
Truma's just still working his way back into no real court sessions right now.
I saw Caleb last night with 24 with Lakeland. First off, what did you make of the performance, and just kind of what do you guys want to see from him while he's up there?
What he did down there, obviously, it's more about defensively being in the right position, the right spacing on the floor offensively. But I thought he did a great job of understanding what he is asked to do, even a little bit shy about it at times because he wants to do the right thing at all times. He's done a fantastic job of staying professional, playing his minutes when needed, and then obviously the growth of what the coaches have done with him here showed up down there.
What was your evaluation of Jonathan for those 2 games that he's played so far with Lakeland?
I thought he was doing a great job finding a way to get comfortable within just getting up and down the court, being able to take contact defensively, just understanding pick and roll coverages, whether he's switching or he's staying in coverage, but his activity with his hands, getting his hands on the basketball, protecting the rim, making sure he was a presence down there, and then offensively it's going to take some time to continue to find his groove, but he understands that, and that's the great part about how he's evaluating himself as well.
When he goes into something like that, is that something where you guys and Jeff have the discussion, hey, here are some of the objectives we want to see you hitting those for? Like, what are those conversations like?
Well, initially, understanding that it's just getting back on the court. I think that's the biggest portion of it. And then as the games continue to go on, you start to see, okay, here's what it is like with scheming and game plan and adjusting, and start to concentrate on those a little bit more. But for the most part to start, just being able to get that comfortability level on the floor.
We know that he's going to play on Thursday. Was 3 the original plan, or was it kind of just like, let's see how each game goes individually?
I think it's like that. It's really how guys respond to the different games and how much we can balance that out for where he is.
Do you have a plan for when Caleb, will you join this group, or how long he'll stay with Lakeland?
That's very similar to seeing how he's adjusting to it down there, and how many bodies we'll need here is going to be important as well.
It was for him just a matter of just getting more game reps because you do have healthier guys now, and just that's playing time's not going to be maybe as available.
I think that's a big portion of it. As guys are coming in and out of the lineup, we get guys healthier and healthier. Get guys like similar with RJ's situation. Just wants to play, and he's a young kid that has earned some minutes. It's just tough at times to get him in the game.
The team in the losses to Utah and Denver, rebounding was kind of a big issue. Numbers-wise, you guys are kind of in the middle of the pack, but I think the last 10 games you're toward the bottom in defensive rebound rate. Like, what do you have to do to get kind of rebounding back to where it was earlier in the season? What's kind of the mindset that has to change?
I wish you could have watched our practice. That's what it was about. So you hit it right on the head. Our rebounding has to get back to what it was, and those are just fundamental pieces. That's the ability to sit down and block a guy out. If your man doesn't get it, that's the key of it. So we got to have our guards continue to help rebound, and then we have to pursue it.
Wendell said that sometimes like you guys want to push the pace a little bit, but sometimes guys want to leak out a little bit too early. Is it just taking ownership of that part of the game and understanding like, hey, it's not a stop till we secure the rebound, and that's how you kind of build your defense up?
Absolutely right. We have to be able to finish possessions off. You got to reward yourself for making a team miss. And so once they've missed, you got to make sure you secure the rebound in order to get out and run.
Since the starting lineup had their first time together against Memphis, it's been one of the better 5-man lineups across the league. Just what have you seen that allow them to thrive in the way that they have in that time?
Well, they're just learning to. I think it just takes time. I think we've said that time and time again about as we continue to have guys in and out, and the chemistry is going to change. So it just took a matter of time before they started to click and work together and understand the different pieces and how they play well off of each other.
how, I guess, maybe special or rare is it for a group? I mean, from the first game through now, like, they seem to really just click early. Just how rare is that for a group to just click in that way?
Well, I wouldn't say it's rare. I really just think that this group does a great job of communicating with each other on and off the court, and they really fight for one another. And I think the more they continue to do that and communicate with one another, the better we'll continue to be.
When it comes to that starting lineup, or just that consistency, I know we've kind of talked, the best stretch of basketball this team's played when you have healthy bodies, when that's that similar starting lineup. I know it seems silly, but what is the power, the impact that consistency has on winning?
A ton. You know, our guys start to register when they're going in the game, when they're coming out of the game, if they're playing well, and how their rotation keeps, they'll keep playing more minutes in those situations. But it gives a comfort level to guys. Like you just talked about with the routine of being at home, that same routine comes in the playing, how much that when they're going in, when they're coming out, knowing that chemistry of who they're on the floor with. I think those are big pieces to their level of comfort to play together.
When you're gone for 10 days, 5 games, what do you feel you came back knowing about your team?
We're fighters, man. I think that we all have the same mindset as far as just trying to get better every day and trying to learn from our mistakes and understanding that, it's going to take time to get where we want to go, but we're trying to do it now. We're not really trying to wait around and wait years. We're trying to be a winning team today. So taking whatever we have to do each and every day to try to make that happen. So I think that, over this road trip, I just seen a team that, other than the sack game, really, the team that's competing and fighting, and understands what it takes to win. And, we came down to the end a few games. So, again, we're just trying to learn from our mistakes and get better every day. But I think we're really buying into everything and communicating to each other more and starting to learn what it takes to push each other to get the best out of each other.
After a long trip like that, how nice is it to have some time in your own bed, be back at home?
Huge. Kind of a little bit still messed up with the time difference, but there's nothing like being in Florida, waking up and feeling the weather that was here, the last couple of days was beautiful. And, again, like you said, just getting back in your bed in the same routines that you're normally having and not having to wake up in a hotel room. But pretty dope to come back here and just, be back with our family and be back in, what we know.
The team had some issues with rebounding during the road trip, specifically that Utah and Denver game. Numbers say you guys are still a pretty good rebounding team. What do you have to do, or what do you have to change mindset-wise to be more attentive on the glass?
I think it's just a mindset of just looking the box. A lot of the times, we get caught watching, and then that's when guys are coming in, flying in, and stealing the rebound. So, again, it's going back to the little things, the details, the small things of just looking the box and boxing out, and everybody coming back and nobody leaking out. So. I think it's something simple, but again, it's something that's a mindset that you have to, constantly remind yourself of. Every time a shot goes up, not to just try to look or go get it, just box first and then do those things.
The guy said that you kind of learned that this team's a fighting group on the road trip. Do you guys kind of feel that that corner's starting to be turned a little bit, or coming out of a road trip like that, Do you feel good? Do you feel good about a 2-3 trip, or does it feel like there's a little bit more left on the table?
There's still a lot on the table, but you definitely feel good. Especially coming out of the West, where we felt like we should have been 4-1. Like I said, other than the sack game, we felt like we gave ourselves a pretty good chance to win the game. So again, it's positive. We take the good things from that coming back, and also knowing that we have guys to continue to get healthy and coming back. It's super exciting. And I think that's what we're starting to understand right now is just. What group's on the floor, trying to learn and mesh and get together and bond together and learn how to win together. And as we continue to get everybody back, that's what it's going to continue to be, just continue to learn how to help each other out and how to contribute in any way that we can. So very positive about this road trip, coming back 2-3 and look forward to this next stand of games.
Kelly, you had just talked about, guys coming back, easing their way back in. That's something you've had to do a handful of times here the past couple of years. What's the key when you do come back, and it may be on a minutes restriction or a different rotation, to try and get in your rhythm back, maybe easier than others? I
know for me, it was all about just having fun playing the game and competing. Doing the little things that I can control as far as, effort on defense, just simple things, and then offensively, just not trying to force you, just letting the game come to me, and again, just giving it my all. So I think that, again, that's a big thing that we all preach to each other is, we believe in the work that we put in, so we're not questioning any shots that anybody takes, but at the same time, we're trying to find the best shot for everybody on the floor. So I think it's all about just, stressing to the guys, just have fun and compete, and then everything else will take care of itself. We're all great basketball players. We're all going to find our rhythm, rather fast, and we also got teammates that's going to help us find our rhythm. So, again, I think it's all about just competing and doing the small things.
I think Dan touched on it a minute ago about playing in close games, getting in those situations. That was something that you didn't have that frequency in those contests last year. Now that you're playing in more, still maybe coming up on the wrong side of those, what's that balance between learning those situations with the young team and guys coming back in and not letting it be, not being, just okay with it?
I don't think nobody on the team is okay, especially after getting a taste of this 6-win streak that we went on and all the winning that we've been doing. I think that guys are really have a belief of winning and knowing that we have what it takes to win. So, again, it's trying not to make the same mistakes and not really letting our head get down when teams go on runs or we lose a league or we go up 20, I think it's about being composed and just learning. Exactly, it's going to be a game of runs, and we just got to keep fighting to the end. And as long as we do that, we give ourselves a chance. So I think guys are doing a really good job of just trying to buy into that mindset and understand that, we're going to keep fighting. And as long as we do that, we give ourselves a chance. So.
Current starting lineup you guys have been using of yourself, Gary, Franz, Pablo, and Wendell have been one of the better 5-man units in the league, across the entire league since you first played together in Memphis. What allows you guys to thrive in the way that you guys have, that unit specifically?
I think we just try to strive on defense, really. I think we try to let our defense start our offense and get us going offensively. And I think we just got guys that are trying to move the ball. I think we just understand each other well. And again, I think it's really our defense, though. Being able to switch and being able to communicate and being able to follow our game plans every night and execute that, and then get out in transition and have quick early layups. Guys getting 10, multiple guys scoring double digits. It's been big for us. So I think it's just been our defense really in that starting unit that's been getting our offense going and sticking with it. But it's been also games our bench has helped us a lot. Coming in and picking up where we left off or even getting us back into the game. So.
Focusing on that, that 5-man lineup, the starting lineup, just you said it just clicked so early. What's allowed to click so early? From day one, you guys were, taking advantage.
Yeah, I think the amount of vets that's there. I think the only one is P really. Boogie is second year, but Boogie got thrown in the fire, so he's seen a lot in his first year. So. Again, I think it's just chemistry. I think we understand each other's game. We understand where we like the ball, where we want to play, and we all have the same mindset as far as just going out there and competing as hard as we can to win. So I think that's a huge part of it,
When you went on this, 10-day, 5-game West Coast trip, what did you learn about yourselves as a group?
I don't think we learned anything. I think we was able to build off of something. I think our thing was being resilient. We went down. In a lot of these games, late games, it was, came down to one shot. And I think we just, stuck to, what the game plan was going into each game. And, win, lose, or draw, I feel like we did what was asked of us from the coaching staff. And at the end of the day, that's all we can do. And I feel like we did a really good job in most of those games, except for the Sacramento game. But every other game, we had a chance to win. So, that's all that matters in my opinion. Now it's just about, get more and more comfortable. So then when we get in those situations, we can, completely seal out games.
It's not like you guys will be home for a long time with many games, but to come off a stretch like that, have a few days off, how nice was it to be back in your bed and back into your routine?
Man, it felt good, especially going to Denver and Utah. The altitude be messing with my nose and drying out your mouth and stuff. So it was good to finally be back home. Good weather out here. See some of my family that's out here, so it was all good.
Team the last 2 games especially had some issues on the offensive glass, but numbers-wise, you guys are kind of still in the middle of the pack with rebounding. What does it take to be a good rebounding team? What does this team have to do to kind of clean up the glass a little bit and get back to where you guys were at the beginning of the season?
The thing about it is that everybody rebounds, from point guards to centers. So I think what we have to do a better job of is once we finish possessions, with a great contest on whatever shot they take, we got to do a better job of just boxing, 1 through 5. I feel like just giving ourselves a chance to just get the board and be able to push in transition. Sometimes we kind of get sped up and be looking too forward to running in transition before getting the ball. So I feel like that's something that we got to do a little bit better job on, have a little bit more emphasis on it.
Does the rebounding some of the rebounding struggles maybe hide how well this defense is playing? Because when you guys made the comeback in Utah and Denver, it was really the defense was the main.
Say it again. I'm sorry. Say the question.
Does some of the rebounding struggles hide how well this defense is actually playing and just? It serves as a reminder of how important it is to finish those possessions.
No, absolutely. We usually play a good 20 to 22 seconds of great defense. Then it's the rebound that kind of messes it up for us. So I think we're one of the better defensive teams in this league, but we're not going to get that credit until we start finishing our possessions.
We saw it in the, I believe it was Sacramento and then the back-to-back with Portland. We've seen it a couple times where you guys have a loss that might be a little significant. The next night or the next game, it's a complete 180. What is it that happens between that loss and the next night that kind of flips the switch for you guys?
Especially the way we're losing. I feel like whenever we have a significant loss like that, we just try to find ways to just make sure that doesn't happen again. We just locked in on our game plan. I'm not saying that we weren't locked in on our game plan against Sacramento. I feel like we were just a little bit lackadaisical. One of our first games out there on the West Coast, so it was kind of tough for us. But that's something that as a group, as a young group, we'll start to get a lot better at. Knowing that on those West Coast trips, it's always good to leave those trips at least 500 or above. So that's something that we can do. We can learn from, and then our next West Coast trip, we'll try to do a better job.
I know you touched on this in the past, that you want to be more the vocal leader. That was something that you had worked on last year. When it's a situation like that, is that you or another guy on the team that comes forward? Is that something that Jamal and the stat, how does that work in that time frame?
It kind of starts, it's kind of a trickle effect. It starts from the coaches, telling us what they saw out there, what they feel. And at the end of the day, we're the ones out there. We know we kind of have a better feel for the game. So then it just comes to, I would say probably the starting five, are pretty vocal about what they see, what they feel. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. I feel like that's the beauty of being able to be a great team that communicates. You don't have to agree on everything, but being able to voice how you feel, your opinions, and then just bouncing ideas off of one another is how you continue to grow.
The starting five, you just mentioned, it's been one of the better lineups since you guys started playing together against Memphis. Just what's led to that, and what's allowed you guys to thrive in that way?
I think our starting group has a great mixture of everything you need. We got great scoring, great rebounding, great defense. Great passing, great playmaking. I think we got a little bit of everything in our starting lineup, and we gel together really well. We all got the same goal in mind, which is to win. We understand with winning comes everything we want in life, everything we want to get out of this game. So, it's easy to play with guys who have the same goal in mind.
You mentioned the communication. Do you feel like that's even more prevalent with that five?
Oh yeah, for sure. Guys like G. Harris, Markel, older guys, they kind of get it. They've been here, they've been on winning teams, they understand what it takes. So, I look to G, I look to Kel for a lot of advice, just on the court and even off the court. They kind of got a feel for, what the NBA is and all their trials and tribulations that they went through. I'll just try to learn from the things that they do.
What's the next step for that lineup? I mean, the numbers say it's one of the better lineups in the across the entire league. But what is the next step you guys can take as a group?
At the end of the day, I feel like we got to be more consistent in closing our games. Usually, give or take a player or two. We're usually the guys that's out there in late game situations, and sometimes we make one little mistake and that costs us the game. So I think just being more consistent and in late game decisions, late game playmaking, late game shot making, whatever the case may be, taking that up another level. I think that's probably the next step for us.
Wendell, going off Kobe's point, the best stretch of ball that you guys have played this year is when you had that consistent starting five, just the consistent rotations. I know it seems like a silly question, but what is the impact that consistency has on a team and the success with it?
Especially with a young team, guys start just trying to find their identity in this league. It's always good to have a sense of consistency, to know what to expect every night going into every game. You start to get a feel, start to realize, okay, I'm gonna get my shot here. I know I got to be here on low man. I know, all our defensive and offensive terminology. You start to learn those kind of things because now you understand when you're going to be in the game, when you're not going to be in the game. So, I think consistency is a really big thing, especially for a young group that we got.